This is the sleeper that I had just a few weeks ago that is now a main card bout, and I love to see it. And the reason why is because if you do not know who the beast is, Manon Fiorot, if you do not know her name, you better learn it right now, remember it, and do not forget that name, because I'm telling you this much, man. She is a killer waiting to get the hype. She is she's coming out of that like French scene, the Cyril Gans, the Manon Fioros, you know, she's like part of that French generation coming through and making their mark on the UFC, especially when we're talking about kickboxing, man. She is a star-studded kickboxer, a decorated kickboxer, and we've seen, man, it's hard to touch her when you're in there. You know, it's very hard to touch her, but she's facing a real problem. MAYRA Bueno Silva. So, AJ, let's talk about the line here. Minus 210 is Manon Fiorot, plus 175 comeback for Bueno Silva. Both of these fighters are 7-1 in MMA, 2-0 in the UFC is Fiorot, 2-1 is MAYRA Bueno Silva, and let's not forget she just came off of a draw to Montana De La Rosa, a very experienced UFC fighter. Now, when we're talking about Fiorot, her only wins have come against Victoria Leonardo, which I'm not trying to hate, but that's not the best competition in the world, and Tabitha Ricci, who also jumped up a weight class. She looked like a very small person in the cage compared to Fiorot, so it's hard to really say like, oh man, she's really ready for the big shot, but this is going to prove it right here, AJ. This one right here. So you got a power. You got bombs in the hands for MAYRA Bueno Silva versus more of a technician, volume striker in Manon Fiorot. Who do you like in this one, AJ, man? Like, who stands out to you? Who pops off the page when you look at this matchup?
Man, Fiorot all day. And don't get me wrong, I like Bueno Silva as well. She's very dangerous. She's got heavy hands. She can get a little crazy, and she has a ground game as well to go with it. She's a little bit more well-rounded of a fighter, but I like Fiorot a lot on this one, man. She has a lot more technical of a striking style, as well as she throws that karate style front kick that she basically uses it like a jab, and she'll just keep it going the whole time. And not only that, her hands are so fast. That's where the power comes from. Doesn't load up on the shots, throws them right from the shoulder, but turns those hips and absolutely demolishes her opponents when she gets them up against the cage. They don't really know what to do whenever those hands are flying. In her last fight against Tabitha Ricci, I mean, she beat up my girl Baby Shark. So I was a little jaded in that one, but Michael, I just blanked his name.
Bisping?
Thank you so much, Derek. I had a brain fart right there. Michael Bisping said it, man. She's got fists of fury, and literally when they're flying, she's fast. She'll throw crazy combos, and she's slick with the combos too. Even if they're just like, not really landing the hardest of shots, she'll hit you with 5 shots in a row, and then you're sitting there like wondering like, what the hell's going on as you're trying to circle out, and she's kicking you in the stomach, man. I like Fiorot a lot on this one. I think that that favorite, that 210 favorite is there for a reason. I think the odds makers are seeing exactly what I'm seeing. Who do you like in this one? What stood out to you the most?
I really like Fiorot in this one, man, but I really like Bueno Silva as well. Bueno Silva, excuse me. I'm gonna talk about these two stats really quickly, man, because these two stats are very interesting to me. So, Fiorot only has 2 fights in the UFC, both wins, both knockouts, right? And in those 2 fights, she's landed 50 plus significant strikes at a 48% and up and over, right? Accuracy in both of those bouts, right? So 50 plus shots landed, significant strikes, 48% clip. That's very legit, right? I mean, if that sounds good to you, AJ, wait till you hear this. Bueno Silva, in her 2 wins in the UFC, right? Because she's 2-1. In the 2 wins that have gone to decision or something of that nature, right? Or actually, the 2 fights, I take that back, AJ. Sorry, I'm butchering this. The 2 fights that she has fought that have gone to decision in the UFC, she has landed 50 plus significant strikes at a 56% and over accuracy. Right. So that's interesting to me, because if you talk about her first win in the UFC, I think it was a submission win, like an armbar over Jillian Robertson. Then she got another big win over Romero Bojela, right? That was another submission win. But in the loss to Marina Moroz, man, I mean, she was landing a bunch of shots. I think she got about 80 significant strikes landed there. So she's a volume puncher, but she's accurate too, which is really interesting to me, because if she's got the power edge and she's just as accurate, if not more accurate than Manon Fiorot, I mean, what does that say? Is it the people standing in front of her are easy to hit? I'll tell you, Marina Moroz, she is not an easy fighter to hit. I'll tell you that much, man. And she's a volume puncher too, man. So it's going to be interesting, because it's kind of almost the same style that we're seeing here. So with that being said, I do like Fiorot. I give her the edge in this one, but Bueno Silva is mean, AJ. And that's the one thing that is interesting, that stands out to me in this matchup, is that if you're a Manon Fiorot, you're the fist of fury, you're the beast, you're the one who's just fucking everybody up and doing all that. And now you're faced up with somebody who is not scared of you, who's willing to walk forward and not just walk forward and be a punching bag, but walk forward and land her own blows, her own real deal shots. I think it's going to be an eye-opening experience and an eye-opening, revelation that we're going to see about Manon Fiorot, to see if she's truly ready to take a step up in the women's flyweight division. Because some people are saying, AJ, I'm not saying it, but some people are saying this might be our only hope, the great hope that could potentially contend with the Valentina Shevchenko up in the next couple of years. You know what I'm saying? So who's to say that Shevchenko wouldn't have already moved on from the division by this point or whatever, but Fiorot is the one great hope that we have right now. But then again, it's a little disrespectful to say, being that she's only defeated Tabitha Ricci and Victoria Leonardo in the UFC so far. So we need to see more, and this is going to be the big test, like I said. So with that being said, AJ, we got the kickboxer versus somebody who is a big power puncher, a big brawler who's got, listen, man, mean kicks, knees, and punches. Mayra Bueno Silva, I think, has just as many weapons as Fiorot, but just in a different style. But she does also have 5 submission victories, and that's what's going to be interesting. We have not seen Fiorot been tested on the ground yet. How do you think that factors into this fight, AJ?
That's what I was going to ask you, Derek. I feel like Mayra Bueno Silva's best way to win this one, catch one of those side kicks, get her to the ground. We haven't seen how Fiorot handles it, and that's really the best. I think the way Mayra Silva can use her techniques against her. I definitely think it's like one of the aspects Mayra Bueno Silva needs to do going forward. And like you said, we haven't seen it happen yet. And I'm one of those ones saying I think Fiorot, at least right now, Fiorot's style is one of the ones that can contest with Valentina Shevchenko. It's just, she's so dominant, it's hard to say. So don't get me wrong. I do think Manon Fiorot needs to have a little bit more weight behind her, not necessarily in pounds, but as far as like killers on her hit list. But I think that style has a lot to offer going forward. I do think Mayra Bueno Silva has a better shot in the stand-up than a lot of her other opponents have against Fiorot, especially in her last fight against Montana De La Rosa. That's what, man, those shots were landing hard. And you saw De La Rosa really getting hurt and covering up and trying to get things to the ground, where she's a little bit more dominant on the ground in that fight. But I think the tables are turned in this fight. What do you think? Do you think Bueno Silva's going to have to get this to the ground for get things going?
Well, I think it could be a good method of trying to get the victory, but at the same time, I've seen Bueno Silva get controlled on the ground in a couple of her fights, man. Against Marina Moroz, who is basically same frame as Fiorot, she was just, smothering her top control like it was nobody's business. So Fiorot, we've seen she can handle the top control. If she's on top, she's good, but we haven't seen her on bottom yet, and that's what's going to be interesting. So I think that her best shot, honestly, to hang with Fiorot is going to be on the feet, a power puncher versus a volume puncher, and we'll just see. May the best woman win on this one, man. So let's give our picks, AJ. Who do you got on this one and why?
I'm going with the karate style, the kickboxing style. Again, I really like I said, man, I love that front kick flying out, that front side kick she uses like a jab. It's hard to do. And what's nice is both these girls are around the same height, around the same reach as well. But that reach is a little bit nullified whenever it's the leg that's reaching out and not the hands. She can hit you from another like foot and a half away. So I'm going Fiorot. I'm going KO round 2. I think it's going to be a fun night. Going to get a finish right in the middle. I just think she's levels above Bueno Silva on the feet as far as the technician aspect about it. But don't get me wrong, Bueno Silva can get that KO if she catches her. Who you got and why?
I have bold predictions once again, my man. So I'm going to rock with the beast. I'm going with Manon Fiorot as well, but I see this one playing out as a decision. Mayra Bueno Silva, I'm giving her some respect because she's never been finished in her career. Her one loss is via decision. That was to Marina Moroz. And listen, she deals out punishment. Like I said, there's something like that's the intangible to me personally in Mayra Bueno Silva. She crushes space in her fights, man, and she's mean and she wants to hurt her opponent. And you could tell. You could see it in her face. Like she wants to hurt you. Like, you know what I mean? She punches you and she's like, yeah, come here, what's up? You know what I'm saying? Let's do this, you know? So it's going to be interesting to see, and I think this is going to be a big test. Whoever wins is going to get a big step up in the division, but I'm going with the beast, Manon Fiorot, via decision. All right, AJ, move on to the next.